Hey guys, Wayback Rewind here. Today I want to talk to you about the Digitpro VHS to digital converter. This allows you to avoid the old school computer transfer and confusing interfaces. It will allow you to preserve your memories in 4K digital quality, no computer required. Includes everything you need, including SD card, and all this 4K digital video recorder for 170 US dollars. Coming up next, here on Wayback Rewind. So I received the Digitpro digital converter in cooperation with digitnow.com. This package includes everything you need, including the power adapter, the HDMI cable, and much more. In the unboxing here, you can see it's very well packaged. It has US customer support and a printed instruction manual. Here's the unit itself. In addition, it comes with a 64 gigabyte SD card, an analog video cable, and a USB power cable. It has an HDMI cable, and finally, the USB power brick. The unit itself has a good number of inputs and outputs. On one side, you have the HDMI in and out, and the analog AV in and out. The other side has the SD card slot along with the Type A USB and the Type C USB and a headphone jack. There's also a slot on the bottom where you can thread in an M5 for a tripod. Powering it up here for the first time, you see the 4K Ultra HD logo and also H.265 and H.264 codecs. Just going to run through the system settings here so you can get a feel for what you can control. It's not a touch screen, but it is easy to control from these buttons on the bottom. After setting the date and time, I stepped through some of the inputs. You can have AV or HDMI. For recording, you can do 264 or 265, as I mentioned earlier. Recording resolution, auto. Recording bitrate. For the default SD, you only have 5 megabits, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. You can also do schedule recording. You can make this like a little VCR connected to a source. You can set when you want it to record. You can also plug in a USB storage device instead of the SD card. We'll also handle a microphone or a headphone, and you have the ability to format the SD card from the unit. Now I'm going to install the SD card so we can record for the first time. Now we see the startup again. I haven't hooked up an input yet, and I don't know if it's strictly necessary to format this card. It may have come already pre-formatted, but it's best practice to format any type of storage card in the unit in which it will be used. So now that we've done that, I'm going to do a standard definition analog recording, which requires this cable. I plug it into the AV in, and it comes in the standard audio and video cables here. Now, if this were a VCR I were connecting, that would just plug directly in. But on a camcorder, it's a little bit trickier. Many camcorders only have the single tip ring sleeve, and these RCA plugs will not go in there. So you have to use the cable that comes with your camera, or a known working cable with a tip ring sleeve. Unfortunately, there is no universal definition of tip ring sleeve, so you can't just go tip ring sleeve to tip ring sleeve. You have to break it out into these RCA cables, and now you have two sets of males, and you have to use these couplers in order for the cables to match. Now, unfortunately, they have never come up with a universal cable that can work on every camera. So it is easiest to just use this type of cable and mix and match the audio and video, and that way you know it's going to work. That out of the way, now I'm powering up this camera. Now this is a digital camera, but I'm outputting on the analog 8mm. Now it's going into the recorder, and you can see it showing up on the screen here. And I just pressed the button and now it's recording. Now this signal I recorded from TV. During Hurricane Beryl, I modified my camcorder into a television. I had made a whole video about that. But now you can see the recorder is recording this signal from the camcorder. Now I'm going to play back. So it's now playing back. It's that simple.
Folks trying to get in a couple hours of some sort of fresh air before they hunker down and ride out the storm.
Okay, now we're going to do an HD video recording. So you have to come into the settings, switch it from AV to HDMI. Once you do that, it unlocks a couple of things. Your recording resolution now goes up to a maximum of 4K, and your bit rate goes up to a maximum of 30 megabits. That's a pretty healthy amount for a 4K signal, but it's obviously not as high as it could be. But now we're plugging in the HDMI in, and this is a full HD camcorder, which does record digitally. And HDMI is a digital signal, so there's no really digitizing going on here, but we are recording an HDMI signal directly from the camera. So I'm going to power it up, put it in playback mode. These are the stills, and I switch it over to the video, and you see the image is displayed on the camera as it is on the recorder. Now I'm going to press record. So now the HD video is going over to the recorder, and now it is recording. Okay, now I'm going to go into playback mode. And from playback mode, we can see it is playing. The image that I just recorded is playing back, and it looks indistinguishable in full HD resolution. Now I'm going to do a 4K video recording, which requires me to use a different camera that can output a 4K signal. This camera uses a micro HDMI, which is not supplied in the kit. You're going to have a regular HDMI to micro HDMI, which should have come with your camera. I plug that in, plug in the HDMI in just as before, power up both units, and now it thinks it's a television, but it is outputting 4K video to the recorder, and I'm stepping through the images, and you can see it is in 4K. And stepping through these images, I now have a much larger screen. I put on the clean HDMI for recording, so it turns off all of the graphics from the camera. Now I'm going to play a video here shortly. It is now recording. Start the video. And at the risk of getting a copyright claim, I'm going to turn up the volume just to prove that it is recording volume and picture through the HDMI. This is an image I recorded with my 4K camera and is now a 4K recording inside the recorder. And so there you have it. The Digitpro digital converter can record any resolution from standard definition up to 4K video. If you found this interesting, Please like or subscribe to my channel, and thank you so much for watching.